Hi all, I had my second game of the season last night playing for Muswell Hill. We were home against West London Chess Club. They were stuck in traffic, so we thought they were all going to forfeit like 8-0, and they came about 2 minutes before the deadline, but without Chernayev, this Russian GM, which often plays for them, and also without Lyles. But the rest of the team, they weren't that bad actually after that. They had to shift up a board. According to the rules, they couldn't just default board 1. They all shifted up, so they actually ended up defaulting on the bottom board. But it means we're playing easier opponents. I think that rule's in, so you don't sort of deliberately forfeit board 1 to push all your players down. So I was playing actually Campbell who's grade 166 on board 3. So I was a bit of an easier time than usual because I'm usually actually playing on board 1 against Chernayev, but we've got a couple of very strong junior up and coming players, or junior younger than me. that's quite a big scope now, but they're over 190. I'm 188 at the moment on ECF. But so Campbell 166, but I looked at his rating record. He shot up from about the 140s actually on the previous rating. So I think this is his highest sort of he's been. It was an interesting game. I played knight f3. He played c5. So he was about 35 minutes late. So 30 moves in an hour and a quarter. But he's already lost half an hour. So it's about not that long, about 40 minutes to play his moves to get to move 30. So I play c4 here anyway. What's interesting about this game, I think the theme is trying to get something out of virtually nothing, because the opening, I don't know, he didn't really play spectacularly in the opening, but this symmetrical is kind of just a good system against the English, where black just copies white. It's kind of annoying, and I thought the only antidote to get a small, tiny advantage is to break the symmetry quickly by playing d4. One of my good friends on Chessboard has mentioned this, Richard Webster, so he's an English player. So I get in the quick d4, and he takes, and I'm wondering, do I take with the queen or knight? I have checked this game with Ribka, but I haven't got Ribka on now because I don't want to sort of be a slave to its variations. But it was indicating both moves are okay, either queen takes or knight takes here. So I chose queen takes, and I had an idea of an exciting manoeuvre that I can get the queen to h4, then maybe castles, rook d1, bishop g5, or knight d5, and it'll be an exciting position, or maybe even bishop h6. But the queen on h4 will be, this major attacking force against the black king, as well as controlling d5. So that was what I imagined, but the reality was quite a lot different. In fact, he first gained the tempo on the queen, so yeah, I'm going to my square, my attacking square, but in the spirit of the symmetrical English, he does a symmetrical manoeuvre with his queen by playing queen a5. And I was looking at this position with great disgust that my opponent is just using the symmetrical English, half an hour down on the clock to get a dead, even position. And I was just wondering, oh my God, the queens are going to come off. I can't really avoid this without moving my queen again soon. And I was just consigned actually to the queens coming off here. So I castle. He plays queen h5. I was thinking, well, maybe I've got a tiny advantage because the semi-open file, I can play rook d1 and try and increase a little bit of pressure on d5. Maybe my pieces will be tiny bit better than blacks. But then I noticed, hold on, I can keep the queens on here. I can keep the game alive a little bit longer with the queens on, for a bit more excitement by playing queen f4. I was thinking, is it a major compromise to play queen f4? Well, there's no bishop h6s, fine. e5, he'd be creating, a bigger hole on d5, fine. Even if that works as a pawn sack. So anyway, I play queen f4. And he persists, with his queen exchange, and now I can't avoid it because if I move my queen back, he's got queen takes c4. So have I got absolutely nothing? That's the question. Now here, I was delighted when I did go over the game with Rivka that Rivka actually likes the move I played to try and get something from nothing here. And I wonder if you can guess it if I give you 5 seconds. Okay, starting from now. No, it's not a spectacular move or anything. It's based on pawn structure, trying to get a slightly better pawn structure. So I'll give you 5 seconds starting from now. Okay, the move I played was c5. So his queen's just come off the 5th rank, so c5 is possible without losing a pawn. That's good news. The second bit of good news is that it's sort of binding against b6 and d6, unless black wants to accept an isolated pawn. Now, just as a sanity check, I will turn on Ribka here, just to make sure, yes, it did indicate c5 as a 0.21 advantage. Wonderful. Anything else is like less than that, so wonderful. Close Ribka. Thank you, Dr. Ribka. So c5. That was my way of getting a tiny bit of advantage here. So he plays queen takes f4. I take with the bishop. So the symmetry, at least, is not present anymore because I'm doing something different with my pawns than the opponent. He plays knight h5. And I wasn't quite sure about allowing bishop c3, with the double pawns. Maybe his knights would be good after that. So I actually meekly played bishop d2. And now, he took that risk of allowing this isolated pawn, which I didn't really think was such a big deal, because he's going to have things like bishop a6, rook fb8, with potential counterplay on the b file, again on this diagonal. So I wasn't that still greatly convinced by all this. But here, I was more enthusiastic about allowing bishop c3 because I played bishop e3. So if he takes and I takes, then maybe I can use the b file for this rook. This pawn might be more of a target. And because I won't have double pawns now because this c5 pawn's been dissolved. So he actually meekly defended the pawn with rook b8. I thought, after the game, I said to him, why didn't he just keep it there? Just play bishop a6. Because if takes, then rook fb8, he's going to take my b2 as fine. I didn't think that was a big deal. So anyway, he plays rook b8. So maybe, that tiny little bit more favours me in the position. So I try and restrict that weakness. Nmxc's is restrain, blockade, destroy. So, or more simply put, if you're going to, throw a dart at something, it's good. It's not a moving target. So this is not a moving target now, this weakness on b6, slightly more fixed. So he plays knight b4, a bit of a tactical liability that knight, it's unprotected. It's the only piece which is unprotected in this position. I play bishop d4 now, finding this exciting move after first considering rook ac1 to stop the knight c2. But I thought bishop d4 also does the same job, because knight c2 maybe I can take, then take on f8, if he plays knight c2, so that's fine. So he plays now knight f6, and now I think it was at this point I did discover an exciting manoeuvre possibility. No, actually, maybe not. Tell a lie. I think it was later that I thought rook ac, rook a3 to b3, and here I think I wasn't considering it here because of knight c2. In fact, that might be just a blunder there, knight c2, unless there's anything concrete. Let's have okay, let's turn on Ribka here for a sec. No, I've got to defend against knight c2. That's definitely a fact. Right. So what I did do was not rook ac1. Which rook to use? I used the f rook because I wanted to keep that in reserve. This manoeuvre. If I had seen it in this position. I'm not totally sure if I saw it or not. That's the problem with not doing live commentary. I'm not really sure what I was thinking now during the game. It was only played last night. But anyway, d6, knight b5. So now he does, a very dubious move. He plays e5. So the position has, radically changed with this pawn move. And can you see how I can forcefully win a pawn?